How much of this is about pay, Dr. Rajan? Because there was also all this furor about how some of these young freshers at IT companies are not being paid enough. There have been a lot of, various reports and comebacks from the companies, and we can get into that. But how much of this is about wanting to earn more, or is this really about, as we heard from the minister and as Sonal's echoing, about just having a whole host of new opportunities?
The controversial spotlight is now on those moonlight. 20 years back, Charles Handy had written a book called The Age of Unreason, where he talked about future workforce belonging to three distinct categories. He talked about the Shamrock organization and three distinct leaves that will make up the workforce. And I think that's the genesis in terms of what he had pointed out, that there are a core group of people who actually run the enterprise, who are part of the enterprise, they are more the permanent employees. Then you have a contingent workforce, which is more temporary in nature, but they're working at the enterprise. And the third is self-employed professionals who are actually there to do gig for you. And the problem here is the fact that the permanent employees, which is seen as a primary employment, the distances between the three are getting blurred. So today you have somebody who's actually part of an enterprise, and that's his primary job, and he's going somewhere else. But then there are 2-3 different dimensions, and you have to look at it from a statutory or a legal dimension at one end. You also have to look at the ethics and the morality behind it, and the third aspect is essentially to do with the relationship, the nature of relationship that you have. So on the statutory part, whether it's Factories Act or whether it is shops and establishment, clearly it does not recognize a possibility or support dual employment by per se. But that's so much for the statute, the meaning is not exactly clear. On the ethical part of it, sometimes when we take polar positions, and here there is a conflict of interest in terms of what the employer wants from expectations point of view and what the employee feels as far as entitlement. And I come back to a specific question that you raised in terms of compensation. The question really is that why is it happening the way it is happening? And when you're talking of ethics, at one end, if I frown upon the fact that you are my employee and therefore you have no business to do something else, somewhere else, there are reasons why they're saying it. But the moot question that I have is if you refer to it as unethical behavior, and you have sacked X number of people, what it also implies is that you have not taken the route to warn. And if you want to take a moral high ground, then if you're talking of ethics, should you be sacking without giving them a chance to begin with? Should you keep the income disparity in terms of compensation disparities at the levels at which they are, where if you are worried about your bottom line, an individual is worried about his safety net. So, it's a complicated matter. And today things are changing, and I'll leave it there, Abhay. We'll pick it up later.
Sure.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.